And we are back. Hi, everybody. It is the continuation of the Wednesday edition of the Pat Miller Program. Glad that you're here. I'm here, David Shea over there with a C. He's overseeing everything on the production line. And, of course, we've got Derek Decker. You just heard him. He'll be back again at the top of the hour. Standing by on the Newsmaker line is the Secretary of State for the state of Indiana, Secretary Diego Morales. Secretary Morales, good afternoon to you, sir.
Hello, Pat. It's good to be with you at WOWO Radio. Hope everybody is doing well. Happy New Year to you and everybody.
Well, Happy New Year to you. You know, my news guy actually came in here a while ago and we were talking, and just off the cuff, he said, so have you ever had Diego Morales on your program before? And I said, no, we've never talked. Yeah, I think we have. And you and I probably bump into each other at Republican dinners more than any other two people in the state of Indiana. Hey, listen, I want to ask you a couple of questions, if you don't mind. Thank you very much for being with us today. How do you assess the first year that you've had in office? What have been the biggest surprises that you've seen, things that you really didn't expect, and what have been some of the biggest challenges first year as Secretary of State?
Great question, Pat. First of all, I didn't realize how much I would truly love being Indiana's Secretary of State. When I was interviewing for the job, it was to give back to the state of Indiana as a grateful American, as a grateful Hoosier. I wanted to give back. So I'll tell you, this isn't a job for me. It is a passion being your Secretary of State. And yes, it's a lot of work, but I love, I love to work. That's part of who I am. That's part of not only my personality, but also I was raised that way, to always believe in hard work. So, again, the biggest surprise is probably, that I love being your Secretary of State. It's, I always tell people I was born to be the Indiana Secretary of State, and I'm very honored and humble, to be the Secretary of State. And specifically because of my humble beginnings. I came to America as an immigrant. Let me clarify that, legally, respecting the rule of law. And, I became a naturalized citizen, serving the United States military with a green card in my wallet, purely to give back. And I feel that calling, I'm a man of faith. And I know the Lord called me to do this, and I was being obedient. But the first year has been busy. Within the first 6 months, I visited all 92 counties last year, Pat. And then during the summer, I led a bipartisan delegation of county clerks overseas to Central America so they can see how other countries run their elections. We hosted for the first time an international business conference in Indianapolis. And then, of course, we actually hosted the very first county clerk roundtable group discussions. So we got clerks from all over the state to be part of our discussions, specifically about election integrity, poll worker training, and recruitment. And then we came up with a grant program, which that's kind of what I was, I started to do at the beginning of this year. I'm already on my second round of visiting all 92 counties, delivering checks, presenting checks to county clerks in preparation for this 2024 presidential election. As you know, it's going to be a massive turnout.
Huge turnout. It'll be enormous. Mr. Secretary, let me ask you this, because I do know that secretaries of state are in a unique position. When our electoral count goes to Washington, D.C., you're the one that signs off on it. You're the one that says, this is our electoral count. We stand by this. Obviously, that has been a difficult thing for some other states in the past. But let me ask you this. This is an odd question. Are you a little surprised, stunned, dismayed at other secretaries of state who have a candidate or candidates on their ballot? Candidates who, they're under some difficulty. They're being accused of some things, but they have never officially been charged with anything. They've obviously never been found guilty of anything. And yet you've got secretaries of state, most recently up in Maine, who says it is her job to keep somebody like Donald Trump off of their ballot. I have a real hard time with that.
Well, me too. You're not the only one. I say this respectfully to my colleagues from other states, but I disagree with that. I believe everyone should have the right to be on the ballot. In this case, if President Trump, is running for president, I like to tell others, let's let the American people decide who they want to be their president. Not the courts, not the Secretary of State, but the American people. The people should go. Now, if they don't want anybody, beat them at the ballot box.
Right?
Go to the ballot box. If you don't want X, Y, Z to become the president, well, do everything you can to get the turnout of your supporters, but beat whoever your candidate you don't want to be at the ballot box. I always think, in this case, here in Indiana, President Trump and others, who, including in the Democrat side, they're going to be on the ballot. Who am I to prevent them? I don't think myself will have the right to prevent them. What I encourage everyone is to get the turnout out there, get the people out there to the polls. And I can tell you right now, obviously, everybody knows that I am a lifelong Republican and a proud Christian conservative Republican. And as well, my job right now, officially as the Secretary of State, is to increase voter turnout, increase voter confidence, increase voter participation. But to answer to your question, let the American people decide who their next president want to be in November.
I think you're exactly right. You and I, we would line up, line for line on that statement that you just made. Would you say that looking forward to this new year, that some of the largest ideas, some of the largest priorities, some of the biggest goals that you might have might in fact be making sure that elections in Indiana, either in our Indiana primary or in our general election, that at every electoral stop, that everything is done right and in order so we don't have to worry about whether or not our electoral numbers end up being accurate?
So that's exactly what I've been doing, Pat. I started my 92 county tour yesterday. Well, I started on January 1st when it was a state holiday, but I was in Howard County already. And then yesterday I visited 6 counties in northwest Indiana, delivering checks to our county clerks. Today, this morning, I started my day in Fort Wayne in Allen County. I was at the courthouse to present a check to Chris, your county clerk. And after that, I went to Whitley County, LaGrange County. I'm in northwest Indiana, northeast Indiana all day.
Okay.
Why? Because I want to present these checks to our county clerks. Tomorrow I'm heading to southern Indiana, Clark County, Floyd County. Friday I will be in Vanderbilt County, in Evansville, presenting these checks because it is important to give our county clerks the tools and resources they need to update, improve, and elevate elections throughout our state. We have approximately $2 million on grants money that we are distributing. Since yesterday, I started, presenting these checks because I believe that the best use of this money is to give back to our local county election offices. When our counties are stronger, it makes our entire state stronger, Pat. So I believe in local government, and I'm building a good partnership with our county clerks. In fact, I've been visiting with county sheriffs, prosecutors, commissioners, councils, because I want to work with the locals in every county. But obviously, in preparation for the 2024, my job is to support and give the tools and resources to the county clerks so that way when people come to vote, they can, obviously, it will be accessible, it will be hopefully no delays, and we will be ready for any unexpected issues that they may come up. So this is the time to do this, and I started already doing that this year. So I am excited because we're going to be busy this year, because ultimately my job is to have as many eligible Hoosiers to register to vote, and then we can drive them to the polls so they can be part of the election process. But they have to be eligible. That's the key word, Pat.
Yeah, eligible by governmental standards, not by what this group thinks or that group thinks. We're talking to Diego Morales. He, in fact, is the Secretary of the State of Indiana, has been since January of last year, which I'm pointing out, Diego, just before I let you go. You're going to every county. You're going all over the place. You're making sure that the checks that belong to counties, that they're getting them and you're hand delivering them. You're doing all of that. So you're putting yourself all over the state. I think it's important to notice that you're all over the state and you're not running for office. You don't run for office again for another 3 years.
It's my re-election will be in 2026. Everyone knows. I've been vocal on this that, my job right now is to do my official duties, my official work. And obviously, after I finish my official work, if there is a time there to stay in a county to attend the Lincoln Day dinner, I'll do that, obviously. I love Lincoln Day dinners. But now, every day, what we're doing is building those strategic partnerships and relationships with our county clerks and our local elected officials. Because remember, when it comes to elections, it's not a Democrat or Republican issue. This affects us all.
Yes.
So my job as the chief election officer is to make sure, give the tools and resources to our county clerks, and then encourage our fellow Hoosiers to register to vote. But they have to be eligible Hoosiers to vote, and then we can go and drive them to the polls. So that is my job, to increase voter confidence, voter participation. And I'm excited to continue to do this. Look, I'll leave you with this, but in Fort Wayne, there is a big Burmese community growing. I'm reaching out to them. There are a lot of minorities as well. I'm reaching out to them because I'm the Secretary of State for all, and my job is to work with everyone here in our great state of Indiana. It is the honor of my life to be the Secretary of State. Hopefully, through my little story, maybe some others will get inspired and follow my path, and hopefully they can be the next Secretary of State in the future.
There you go. Diego Morales, the Secretary of State for the state of Indiana, running all over Northeast Indiana right now, and he'll continue to do that. And we'll talk to him again, I'm sure, a few times before Indiana's primary and certainly before our general election next year. For today, Mr. Secretary, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Pat. God bless you. Take care.
Thank you. Talk to you again soon. Yeah, he and I have bumped into each other at every Lincoln Day dinner in all of Northeast Indiana. I bumped into him in Allen County. I bumped into him in Wells and Adams. I think I bumped into him in Wabash. There's not a Republican Day dinner I don't run into him. He looked at me one time, and I think it was the dinner that was down in Wells County last time, and he looked at me and he goes, "Are you okay if I'm here again?" I said, "Well, I'm getting kind of tired looking at you, but but it's just great guy, a lot of heart, works very, very hard. I put a lot of credence into what candidates say they believe, what they want to do. I put a lot of credence in people that do it. This thing about visiting every county, he did it before he was elected. Okay, we've had others who have done that. I think Jim Banks is on a course right now to visit every county before the election for Senate next year, and Diego Morales is one that has done it quite well.
Podcasts by Federated Media.